Today is Tuesday, November 16th, and today was back squats and overhead press. Basically the exact same thing as last week. With these back squats, so I talked to Brad about the plan moving forward. I mentioned a little bit about it in yesterday's video about going 60 to 65% next week and then 70 to 75% the week after that for the snatch and the clean and jerk. But with the back squats, he basically gave me the green light to just sort of approach them normally. And, there's really no need to sort of control or there's not as much of a need for like a dedicated controlled progression like we have set up for the snatch and the clean and jerk, just because the weight is not front loaded and I'm not starting from the ground. It doesn't really affect my lower back in the same way that the snatch and the clean and jerk does off the ground. And so the last 2 weeks I did 275, 295, and both were moderately challenging. It's not like they were very easy, and there were some reps where I did struggle. And even despite struggling, nothing flared up in my lower back. So that's a pretty good sign that I can sort of keep pushing and not really worry about it flaring out my lower back again. So TLDR is that he basically gave me the go-ahead for just trying to get back to normal on the back squats. And so today I did my 4x5 at 315. And honestly, in all of these videos, it looks like there's not too big of a problem. And honestly, I think my squats look pretty good, but they felt way harder and way slower than they look on video. And so I did the first one with no belt on, no sleeves on either. I just didn't bring my sleeves, but I might start bringing my sleeves starting next week. But first one wasn't belted. And so I was like, fuck, I think I should probably wear a belt for the next 3 sets. And so I didn't have like my Inzer belt, but I just went ahead and wore my like thinner hook grip belt. And I think it definitely did help. But yeah, honestly, overall, my positioning like looks really good, I think, given that like, I guess I have been squatting for the last 2 weeks, but before that I didn't squat for like 4 or 5 weeks. So I feel like it's really only a matter of time before my strength levels are back to the way they were. But I'm hoping that it doesn't take too long. I don't want to rush anything. I would rather sort of just ease back into it. But I'm not too worried about how long it'll take until my strength is back. But yeah, again, like all of these sets, like it looks like it's moving really well and it's really fast and easy, but it feels a lot heavier than it looks, I think, on video. But in any case, yeah, I finished these back squats and felt pretty good about it. I think positioning wise, again, I think it almost might look better than it did before, because I was struggling with like squat positioning and stuff like that for a pretty long time before I got injured. But I feel like these look pretty good. Maybe it's because it's lighter weight, but I think positioning on my back squats is sort of independent of weight. But in any case, I did back squats and then I moved on to overhead press. With overhead press, I worked up to 135, which is the same weight as last week. I think the only reason I worked up to 135 again was just because like, I think starting off with 135 last week was a little bit too high. And so I think I just wanted to start at 135 again, instead of like progressing further, just so that like we're not progressing so fast and like making sure that I'm able to do this weight like consistently, I guess. Same thing. I worked up to 135, but this time around I wore a belt, and I think that definitely helps a lot. And here I think I'm also sort of doing the same thing I did last week, in the sense that I'm not trying to lean back super far, just because I don't know how that might affect my lower back. Because I think the idea behind, I guess, the ideal overhead press is that I'm leaned very far back at the bottom, with like my hips being in front of the bar, so that I can almost like incline press it up and then sort of shift my hips back to like maintain my center of gravity relative to the bar. But I guess with that being the ideal with these, because I don't know how it would affect my lower back, I avoided just leaning back as far as possible and stuff like that, and stayed relatively upright. But yeah, I mean, no real issues here, honestly. I think given how 135 went, and given the fact that my lower back is fine, I think that's probably the green light to go ahead and push for next week. But yeah, that was pretty much it. And then did some accessories and then called it a day.